We are in Loxahatchee at a really unusual place. This is Bobby, and he grows things that I haven't seen in other places in South Florida. So I would like you to just tell us what you're growing behind us, and what you do to have the success that you've had with this particular area.
So this area I have planted mostly Garcinias, several kinds of Garcinias. As you can see, I have some other Garcinias inside the greenhouse that's more tropical. I try to collect one of every species if possible of Garcinia. A lot of them may not taste the best, but some are collector's item, but some of them are really tasty. For example, the Achachas, the Garcinia Mangosteens, the Garcinia Forbesii. So those are really tasty ones that people usually don't grow here, that I'm also growing.
Bobby, I wanted to know how you got into Garcinia and why you're in so deep, because this is an amazing collection.
See, the thing is, I never liked fruit, to be honest. I was not a fruit eater. Couple of 2-3 years ago, well, when I grew up eating fruits, being from India, a lot of people are vegetarians, a lot of people eat fruits, but I was not really a good fruit eater. But I used to climb coconut trees as a kid and get mangoes and stuff, and that made me really miss those things. I lived in New York, lived in Georgia, and I missed those having to even see a coconut tree. Mm-hmm. So then I decided, okay, we'll move to South Florida, and then I will at least have some coconuts and mangoes and jackfruit. I didn't want to get a lot of fruits. I really wanted to get some chickens and goats. So that was the start. 2.5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Everything you see is planted 2.5 years ago. I went to a person in Homestead, and I said, I'm going to dig up your coconut trees with coconuts on it, because I don't have patience. I don't want to plant a seed. So he gave me a good deal. Some of the coconuts I bought with fruits are like $50 or so, because he was nice, but I had to dig it up though for him. But anyways, so started with coconuts and a little bit mangoes and jackfruit, and then I went to a few places, some collectors' houses, and they were like, oh, these are just basic stuff, you got to try this, and then one thing leads to another. So now I want one of everything. And pretty much that's how it is. And it's very addictive, right? So once you start with one, so then, I had 5 acres, so I had the option to, keep my trees small and prune them like 6 to 8 feet tall and still get couple of hundred mangoes. Like if you can prune a mango and you can get a couple of hundred mangoes like Dr. Campbell does. So I'm like, I can fit in 5,000 trees if I want to, mm-hmm. in this small land. And still get a lot of fruits. So let's do that, because I don't want to be just a mango farmer or a jackfruit farmer or collecting huge amount of mango and sell mangoes, right? Then I'm competing with other countries that does that as a large scale farming. So the land in South Florida is not profitable for doing large-scale mangoes and selling them. It's mostly either you're a collector having fun, or you have to do it like a variety in a small scale, like a smaller tree. But besides the point, so that's what I got into fruit trees for, is started with coconuts, and then once you eat a few coconuts and then you say, oh, I want this. And then I remember as a kid, I used to eat a fruit called Dewa fruit. That's what it's called in India, DHEU. I didn't know what it was called. I was thinking, and I looked at picture, then I realized it's actually a lakucha. And that tasted amazing. It was sweet and sour, so I had to have the tree. And now then I realized, oh my God, within the jackfruit family, there are like hundreds of trees that are way more tasty. Like you're talking about Chempedax, Tempuni, Bensange, Pingan, Keledang, Marang, Pedalai, Terap. You're talking about a whole gamut of fruit trees that nobody grows here. I grow all those. Breadfruit, like breadfruit is excellent if you get a right kind. I have a few fruiting breadfruits, so And once you're into trees, you have a companion for life. It's not going to go away, most likely, as long as you take care of them and keep it short and pruned so the wind don't take it. And so it's an excellent hobby, I think. I mean, it's nothing but fun, and if you just put the work, but then if you're enjoying it, it's not really work. So I can show you around here. This is the Garcinia aisle. So the small ones are achachas from Puerto Rico. They are small because I just got them recently. They prefer to grow in shade mostly. They grow faster in shade, so I should have let them in the shade for a while, but these are the two achachas, Garcinia humilis. These are seedling achachas. The reason I have so many of those is because some of them tend to get sour and some of them are sweeter, so I would like to select the best variety and maybe top work them later on to keep the best cultivar. So these are all you see here is achacha. I probably have around 30 of those. Some are bigger. I'm hoping it should fruit next year. It's not there yet. Watch your foot step. Now here's something different. That's a regular lemon drop mangosteen. They have a superior lemon drop mangosteen called a Garcinia brasiliensis. They have another one called basupari. The Brazilians is also called basupari, but there is another basupari called Garcinia Gardneriana. So those are pretty small. So those are in my greenhouse. I did not plant them. This is a regular lemon drop mangosteen, which is Garcinia intermedia. And this has fruited already. The fruit is sweet, but mostly sour, but has a good taste. And these two are other two lemon drops, same as that one, but different seedlings. This is a different one. This is a Garcinia aristata. It's a Cuban mangosteen. This has no sourness at all. It's almost 100% sweet, which is very unusual for a Garcinia species. Actually, if you want it the best time to eat it, it should be like slightly underripe, because it gets rid of all the sourness when it's ripe. And this is supposedly, in theory, dioecious, so you would need a male or female, but surprisingly this turned out to be a hermaphrodite, so this can fruit by itself. So there is a lot of variations in the Garcinias. Not all are dioecious. So these are Garcinia intermedia. This is a Garcinia Hombroniana. This is a Seashore Mangosteen. It makes a red fruit, yay big, like a golf ball size. And this has fruited already. It's mostly sour, but has a good flavor, but has a little latex too, but which I have no problems with. It's a good candidate to be eaten with a miracle berry. It is mostly sour. That's another Seashore Mangosteen, same as that one. That's another Seashore, same as that one. These are Garcinia Spicatas. Now these are used in Florida as a decorative plant mostly. But the thing is, this makes a fruit that tastes slightly like garlic. So the best way to utilize this fruit is actually to use it as a vegetable, to cook with it. So makes a lot of fruit. You can collect all of them and make some kind of vegetable dish with it. That's not a Garcinia, that's a non-safe fruit. This is a rare one actually. This is called a Garcinia Atroviridis. This is a fruit that's like beautiful in color. I'm forgetting the local name, the common name, but it's Garcinia Atroviridis, Atroviridis. Excellent fruit as far as looks go, but sour. good in some kind of a sour soups or curries. You can add those. Same as that one. These two are Garcinia xanthochimus. I got them in a very bad state, but I got backup trees. As you know, xanthochimus is also a slightly sour Garcinia. Similar to that would be the Cambogia fruit, the Garcinia gumigutta, which I also have inside, but this is the xanthochimus. These trees are not in their best shape. All right, this is another rare one. This is called Garcinia Sclumbar Kiana. The local name is Madan fruit, M-A-D-A-N. It's also sour, collector's item, but I've heard like if you get it at the right stage and take some salt and chili powder and dip it and eat it, it's pretty tasty. It has a good flavor to it. So these are imbe. That's another Garcinia. I tried to get more than one just in case they turn out to be male female. So these are Garcinia Livingstony. That's the imbe from, it's called African mangosteen. They tend to call everything mangosteen, which is an incorrect statement. Only mangosteen is the purple mangosteen. These are in the Garcinia family. Notice the tip is a little sharp. When the tip is a little sharper, it typically means it's a male plant. That's a general indication. But when the tip is rounded off like this, look at that, that's also an imbe. It's usually a female plant. It's no pointy edge. So you want to try to alternate between the male female for the best production. And now also among these, they can also be hermaphrodites. So they can fruit by itself also. So there is no general rule with Garcinias. That's another imbe. So these two plants were sold to me as a species called Garcinia cornea, which I find is not the case because you see the alternate leaves. Garcinias will always have opposite leaves. So this is not a Garcinia. So those are some of the Eugenias, but this whole area is going to get filled with Eugenias. I have almost close to 60 species of Eugenias that I'll fill up that whole spot with. Most of them don't taste that good. These are again the Garcinia Livingstony, the imbes. This spot I left it empty as soon as the other good ones like the Garcinia madruno, which is a bumpy lemon Garcinia, the Brasiliensis, the Basupari, the Gardneriana, the Lux Garcinia. Within Lux there are several cultivars of Lux like the pumpkin and all that. So all those, I have like around 10 of those, those will get into this pot. And they are cold hardy, so like you can see my achachas, I'm in zone 10A. It doesn't get as warm as people that lives near the coast. I'm 5 degrees colder, but the achachas seem to not mind it. So those are some of the artocarpuses. These are quaimacs. The quaimac name was Artocarpus hypergerius, but that's supposedly a wrong name. The real hypergerius has a fuzzy underneath leaves. I believe the new name is Artocarpus. I'll have to look that up. So this is a quaimac, that's a quaimac. That's a lacucha from Puerto Rico, that's a lacucha from India. That had fruited already. Those are cold hardy. They are more cold hardy than jackfruit is. People don't know that. Like in northern India, in Delhi and stuff, where jackfruit kind of struggles because it goes under zero, lacucha grows just fine. So a lot of people put this tree in a greenhouse by mistake, not knowing it's more cold hardy than jackfruit. That's a hybrid lacucha, big lacucha fruit. Yeah, but I just planted it a few months ago, so it's still in a small shape.
So we're standing in front of a lot of Garcinia, and I was wondering if you've had any particular challenges growing them, and how, what do you find as an effective way to have so much success with them?
So each species is different. They each require a different, they like cold or warm more, some like sun more, some don't like sun. So understanding each species is important. As you can see, every tree has a sprinkler system. So I'm not going to rely on rain or good weather, because I would assume the weather is not going to be friendly before I even plant my trees. I did the sprinklers before I plant trees. You see there is empty spots.
Right.
So I would do the prep work first before I even plant a tree. Some of the sprinklers would be dialed down. If a tree I see doesn't like water too much, it'll be dialed up if I see it needs more water. Garcinias in general do very well in shade for the first few years. They're going to grow faster. Also, the temperature is a factor. The higher the temperature, the faster they're going to grow. Achachas, I'm like, I cannot put everything in the greenhouse. So these were in the greenhouse, believe me. So they are pretty good size compared to what 2-year-old would look like. This is a 2.5-year-old tree. So I started in the greenhouse. When they get bigger, I plant them outside. Feed them. So I do everything organically. So a lot of beneficial fungus, and because if you're going organic, it's very hard for a tree to take up nutrients, because the soil bacteria and the mycorrhizae has to break down the minerals into a colloidal or a chelated form before the tree can absorb it. So if you buy like an 839 or 1868 or 8212, those are already broken down. It's boom, you don't need any biological agents in the soil to absorb those. But if you're going organic, like you're adding K-Mag, that's rock. Trees can't absorb rocks, so you have to have a beneficial biological system going on under the tree, like mycorrhizae and other stuff, to break that down. So every tree I plant, I add a lot of bacteria and mycorrhizae to it, because I'm the one going to be eating the fruit, so I want the best. In fact, I bought some gypsum and K-Mag from you that covers the calcium, magnesium, and sulfur, which are all pretty essential. I also add other trace minerals like zinc, boron, manganese, copper, iron. But those are useless if you don't have the beneficial. That's why I also have a lot of mulch. And not just mulch under the tree, but the whole property. That allows the mycorrhizae to communicate with each other. So if one tree has a block of calcium more and the other tree has more magnesium, they can exchange. You don't have to. So this is the idea of the mycorrhizal network, to grow organically, because it's not easy to grow organically because there are pests and other stuff. So
do you bring in any other source of fungus besides the rotting mulch?
Yes, so I buy a product called BioWar, which has 5 different strains of bacteria, not fungus.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then there is another product called mycorrhizae, which has 3 types of funguses. Those are endo, ecto, and trichoderma. So there's 3 types of funguses. So you got to hit both sides. And there is also another thing about the nematodes, beneficial nematodes. I didn't go into too much into that, because by the time you buy the nematodes, they die. So I don't buy those, but I do use the BioWar product that actually kills the bad nematodes, which that allows me to grow figs here. So I also grow figs, but I do add that to all my trees. That way the nematodes don't bother the trees. So it's a bacteria that infects the nematodes.